Move now to the Education and Science Review report on the Callaghan Institute. Some members seeking the call.
Chairman.
Dr. Megan Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last week, when we had the pleasure of having the Minister at the Education and Science Select Committee for the estimates hearing, the Minister's told us that he did not see the government's investment in Callaghan Innovation as being about creating jobs in the high-value manufacturing sector. He said that he saw this as about creating jobs in the research sector. Well, therein, Mr. Chairman, lies the difference between Labor and National, and what we see as the purpose of our investment in putting money into science and innovation. This is a Minister of Science. I would note that in an earlier contribution this afternoon called interest rates one of the laws of physics, but I did think at least he understood innovation and what it takes to translate good ideas and smart thinking into viable products and companies. But Mr. Chairman, when you are divorcing the investment that we make as a country, as committing taxpayer money into science and innovation from the creation of high-value jobs in the high-value manufacturing sector, Mr. Chairman, we have a problem. National thinks that achieving the budget surplus is about all it is. But in Labor, we have a grander vision of this. We want to make investments that will lead New Zealanders to having higher paying jobs in the future. That is the reason that we invest. And Mr. Chairman, if we stop and pause to consider the name of this very new Crown entity, Callaghan Innovation, it was the vision of Sir Paul Callaghan that the reason we invest was to transform our economy for the good of people. Not the good of companies' balance sheets, but for the good of people and the country as a whole, and the purpose being to put more money into people's pockets. This is not a vision that the Minister shares clearly. But what we do have in Callaghan Innovation is that we have a fledgling Crown entity that really is, very few people are still sure exactly what it is, what its mandate is, or what it's trying to achieve. And Mr. Chairman, this is from some of the people that work in the organisation. If we have a look at what could have been, if we have a look at the Taiwanese model, if we have a look at the Danish model, we see two very good organisations that had a clear mandate from their government and a very well-defined mandate of what it was and what their role was to do. And that was the creation of high-value manufacturing to really kick-start advanced technology in those countries. But if we have a look at how we've started out with Callaghan Innovation, we have Callaghan Innovation trying to sell important IP in terms of high-value manufacturing through Kiwi Star Optics. We saw that last year. This is still something that's bubbling along without resolution. But one of the things, the very fearful things that we have, is that we were willing to, this was a government and a minister that was willing to sell some of our good ideas offshore, and for New Zealand not to realise the benefit of that. But then we have a look at what is happening to many of the companies that are receiving grants from within Callaghan Innovation, and actually some of the precursor organisations as well. And has what we put in place done anything to turn around the fact that too many of our good ideas get sold and disappeared offshore? If we have a look at the figures released in 2012 by Technology Investment Network, 32 of our biggest and best high-tech businesses that were created in the last decade have disappeared overseas, and Callaghan is not doing anything to turn this around. We've seen biodiversity not being able to receive its full grant because actually, although it had been awarded it only late last year, it's already made a decision to take it offshore. We've had Lanzatech make the decision to go offshore. We've had Green Button make the decision to go offshore. So what is it that could have averted this? And is Callaghan doing it? And is the Minister pushing along the reason to do this? Well, Mr. Chairman, many of these companies have pointed pointed to the places they're moving have research and development tax credits. If we have a look at Lanzatech, they pointed specifically to the more positive research environment that they were moving to that would allow their business to flourish. Instead, what we have is a Callaghan innovation in its fledgling state, and Labor really hopes that Callaghan succeeds. And we're in government, we'll actually put the levers in place to ensure that it can. But we have many in the sector, both the science sector and the business sector, with the view that Callaghan innovation is yet another piece of science bureaucracy and nothing new.
Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Kia ora, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Kia ora, I rise to take a call on this, the Crown Entities debate, to talk about the Callaghan Innovation Institute. Mr Chair, this should